Welcome back to Weird Little Indies. I'm your host, Helvetica, and today we've got a fun indie demo that combines deck building and tactical battles all wrapped up into a neat little roguelike adventure. It's called Dungeon Drafters. It's developed by Manolith Studios, and there's a 7-person team working on this game. Is this demo worth your time? Well, let's take a look. Before we get into the nuts and bolts, I want to let viewers know exactly what Weird Little Indies is. Weird Little Indies is here to provide reviews, gameplay, and sometimes news about upcoming indie games that I think may be sleeper hits. Early support is really important to help indie devs develop games. The success of indie games really depends on it, especially those made by very small teams. We're here to help indie hunters like you find cool games. Okay, let's get back to the demo. Dungeon Drafters is described by the devs as a mystery dungeon adventure set in a world where magic is cards and cards are magic. You explore dungeons, defeat enemies, and get loot in the form of gold and cards. You can then grind out a powerful deck to explore harder dungeons. The dungeon levels are procedurally generated to guarantee a fresh experience each time you play. The gameplay and combat systems are the real star of the show. There's a lot of unique ideas, like when you play a card from your hand, it goes into the card graveyard until you find a shrine or return to town. Only then are they reshuffled back into your deck. So once you're out of cards, you're stuck. This means that your strategy needs to constantly be evolving to think about card synergy and card conservation while you explore each dungeon. During my time playing, in one room of the dungeon, I was able to play one card and from its effects ended up killing each enemy on the floor. I've only done it once, and when you're able to synergize something like that, it just feels so cool, especially because it's kind of rare. I sincerely hope the development team adds a tutorial into the main game. When you start, there is a how to play button, and it does show you the HUD and the controls. Some of the finer points of combat, though, are left for the user to discover, and they aren't as intuitive as they could be. A good example of this, the main character has a melee attack, and it doesn't use cards, which is really important because you're really trying to conserve cards. Beyond moving your character around, though, I assumed cards were the primary source of combat. However, if you're next to an enemy, you can actually move in the direction of that enemy and do 1 damage. It's not a lot of damage, but it's really powerful because you're saving cards. I would have loved a tutorial letting me know this. However, I discovered it after playing 4 games. Another example that I've seen perplex people in the community is the root card. An enemy can root you to the floor. The card has very little details on it, but you are told that it will automatically disappear at the end of your turn. Many people were in situations where they were stuck after a battle, and it turns out you can cast this card on yourself to also dispel it. The developers have responded to this feedback, and they noted that they are working on changing the card so that it's a little more intuitive and people understand how to get out of that trap. I have a feeling, though, that once this game comes out, there are of course going to be balance patches needed and a little more clarification on other issues that maybe haven't been so widely playtested. On the game's Kickstarter page, and in some of the developers' blogs and videos, I've seen some parts of the games that are not yet in the demo, and I wanted to just go through those real quick. There will be a town hub where you start your dungeon delves from. It looks like you're going to be able to buy, upgrade, and purchase new cards, as well as talk to NPCs and other playable characters. There are 6 playable characters, and from the promo art, they look diverse, and I'm really excited to see what flavor they add to combat and to whatever story is there. There will be 6 dungeons with multiple floors to go through. So far, I've seen their SoundCloud soundtrack, and that's given me a lot of hints. They have Glacial Library, Dune Dome, Misty Grove, Lost Wreckage, and Magma City. I'm unsure of what these will look like, but I've seen a few examples of an underwater level, so maybe that's Lost Wreckage? I'm unsure. There's a rune system, and unlocking different runes will unlock different styles of cards. The card styles are called archetypes, and all play a little differently. The Kickstarter has a great graphic for explaining those styles. And for you fans of fishing, don't worry. The developers have said there is a fishing minigame in this game. We can all rest easy. All this gameplay sounds great, but on a base level, what drew me into this game was the art. Both the in-game pixel art and promo art are absolutely stunning. They take me back to SNES art styles for each, almost styled like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. The polish is evident on this title. One of my favorite bits that I noticed when playing and watching the developers play is how the lighting effects in the levels look really good. The character animations are also just as polished. Another thing I like is how chunky and big all the graphics look. That's going to translate to a Switch or a Steam Deck or a mobile platform much easier and be way more accessible for more people to play. If you get a chance, head on over to SoundCloud and search for Dungeon Drafters. It looks like it's shaping up to be a really banger. My favorite track is the Glacial Library Floor 1. The melodies remind me of old school chiptunes from SNES games, and the beat just keeps pounding. It makes me want to play more and more. This is a soundtrack I want in my collection. I also want to hear fan-made remixes. The release date is speculated around Q1 or Q2, so the first half of 2023, but nothing official has been said yet. I really like games with high replayability and the ability to experiment with different ways of playing. I think that's a promise this game's going to be able to deliver on. So what do you think of Dungeon Drafters? I'm going to link to the game below, and add it to your wishlist today if you want to support the devs. Leave a comment with your thoughts, especially if you've played the demo. Also, if you liked this review, check out my 15-minute video of just gameplay and running commentary. While you're here, give this video a like and subscribe. It helps me to keep making videos like this. We'll see you next week.